The topic I wanted to discuss today was the streaming of full episodes of content on Twitch. Now, recently, Pokimane got a suspension from Twitch. I don't know why they call it a ban. It's like there's a difference between a ban and suspension. They clickbait the shit out of that when they call it a ban. She was just suspended for 2 days, you know? So I should probably title this Pokimane banned forever from Twitch for the views, but just know she was suspended for 2 days. I mean, come on, let's get the diction right on that. But why was she suspended for 2 days? She was streaming full episodes of Avatar, the last Airbender, or one of the Avatar series, Korra, or little what was his name, Mila? The little guy, the first one. You got the little guy and you got the girl. I love them both, to be honest. A great show. The thing about the show, though, is that it's owned by Nickelodeon. It's behind a paywall. Not that it really matters, but she's been streaming full episodes. Now, not to single her out. A lot of people have been doing that. Oh, Aang. Aang and Korra. No, his name was Aang. Can I make a confession? Dude, Korra is I mean, I don't know how old she is, so maybe I should say, but she was old enough. She like dated and stuff. How old was Korra? Let's say she was 21 in my mind, or older. I don't know. See, I just want to say I thought she's hot. That's it. What? You didn't? She was like a lady. She's not a little girl. She's like a full-blown 17. Fuck. But it's a cartoon. It's a pull up a photo. She's like a fully blown. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful warrior princess, like Xena. Fuck, I didn't know she was 17. Why'd they do that?
Creep alert.
Shit. I think everyone agrees Korra is hot, right? You know? At least I didn't say it about Aang. There's no defending that one. But okay, let's stick to the premise here. The thing is, guys, I watched it a long time ago. Maybe I was 17 when I watched it. The thing is, guys, on YouTube, everybody understands you can't stream full episodes of shit. So, I'm not surprised this happened. I am surprised that people have been able to do it for so long. For example, I was watching XQC. Again, not to target anybody, but he's been watching full episodes of Hunter x Hunter. Another great show. And let me tell you, Gone is so powerful. No, I'm just kidding. Whew. Yeah, I mean, guys, listen, you can't stream full episodes. The thing is, if we as creators are always pushing, like, we need fair use. We need fair use. We need companies to respect the fair use. But we can't, on the other end, be like, but also we want to stream full episodes on Twitch and, make a whole big scene out of it when it gets taken down. I mean, let's be honest. We have to respect their rights for them to respect our rights. And we got to kind of have it go both ways in that regard. Now, there are certain cases, like my bestie Hassan, who I love so well, who streams, he has Master Chefy streams, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think he watches full eps of old episodes. The thing is about the fair use and the copyrighted materials, you can test the boundaries of it in a way. Because in their case, because the thing is that there is a good argument to say, like, hey, I'm watching MasterChef, I'm watching Korra, I'm watching Hunter x Hunter, and there's a lot of people. For example, XQC had like 100,000 people watching Hunter x Hunter with him, who are getting introduced to the show. Now that show has like, over 300 episodes. So there's going to be a sizable amount of people that are going to go and watch the show as a result of it. So there's clear benefits to the show on one hand for allowing it, and, copyright infringement, it needs to be enforced. So some people, choose not to enforce their copyright because they see the benefit of allowing people to stream or watch along with their content. I mean, on YouTube, you see it all the time with fellow YouTubers. For example, All Gas No Breaks, who's a friend of mine, we stream his full episodes. Obviously, I have his permission, but we stream his full episodes on our YouTube channel. I know it's okay with him, but he sees the benefit, right, of people doing that for him. Hila's went to the bathroom. She's almost 9 months pregnant, so she's peeing every 10 minutes. Are you peeing, Hila, or pooping? She's peeing, I can hear. I would tell you if she was pooping. So, like, I'm not going to go out fully and criticize these people because these are boundaries that need to be tested. And I think the savvy copyright holders will understand that there is a benefit to it. But obviously, there needs to be some point in which they're like, okay, they've watched the whole series of Hunter x Hunter. At which point are we saying this is okay? This isn't okay. But what I don't want people to do is conflate the issue of fair use and, like, let's say like decriminalize copyright infringement. What's interesting about Let's Plays and gameplay, like, Nintendo notoriously doesn't allow people to stream their games. And many people, myself included, think that that's just so stupid and so much to their detriment. Were you peeing or pooping, Elo? Yeah, she was peeing. Yeah, I could hear. I was just clarifying for people watching. What are you doing? You're drawing or something? Yeah, I'll come sit with you. She's going to come sit back. And so I feel like Nintendo is hurting their business by not allowing people to stream their games. But on the other hand, it is their legal right to say, hey, someone just playing my video game isn't fair use, or so we're going to claim all those videos. Now, that's their right. We have to respect that, okay? That's the law, and it exists that way so that YouTube can exist. That's another thing people don't understand is that the DMCA, as it's established, is the only reason that a platform like YouTube can even exist, because otherwise they get sued out of oblivion for every time some random idiot uploads a bootleg or restreams, an episode of their content. So there's two issues here. There's fair use, and I want to make it clear. This is not at play here. I think what they're doing on Twitch is not fair use, and I think that just needs to be made clear, okay? Because we can't conflate these issues. Fair use is something different. What they're doing is kind of a decriminalized copyright infringement. And the savvy copyright holders will I think, allow that to an extent, obviously. But again, before we get too angry and be like, the DMCA needs to be removed. YouTube does not exist, period, without the DMCA. Okay? Now, again, that's not to be confused with big media companies that are claiming and removing clear, obvious fair use. Those guys are pieces of shit. They need to be thrown in a ditch and set on fire with petrol. Not them, the company. That's not like a threat of bodily harm, but they are scum. They are the scum of the world. In fact, I'm engaged in a second lawsuit with a guy named Ryan Kavanaugh, who's suing me for reacting to the Jake Paul fight. Whatever, that's a whole nother topic. If you guys want a video about that, I can talk about it. But actually, he's suing me 3 times. All right. Yeah, so there's basically there's two things here, and now there's a third discussion happening. Should we abolish copyright? Period. Abolish copyright. I mean, obviously people need to protect their property. Like, you can't resell someone's property. Everybody agrees on that, right? I mean, that just goes even for us creators. Somebody can't repost one of our videos on Facebook in its entirety and then expect to be like, that's my content and I'm going to make money from it. We all agree on that. And then, if that's illegal, then you need to define what makes legal and illegal content. And that's where fair use comes into play. I think the American law, it's old, but it's good. And the problem is that to get a fair use ruling, you need a judge to make a call on it and weigh all these different options of fair use. And there's 4 factors of fair use, which I'll read to you. And then it becomes really litigious and it becomes a whole thing. But like, how are you supposed to weigh the options here? First one, the purpose and character of the use, including whether it is commercial in nature or for non-profit educational purposes. So they're saying, have you reproduced this content to simply make money, or are you having like a good intention to educate? A good example would be like a dude selling VHSs on the street or DVDs on the street of bootleg movies. That's commercial. Versus somebody in a classroom who plays a video so that he gives context to a bigger conversation because the video has to do with something historical. These are important to consider. The nature of the copyrighted work. Using material from primary factual work is more likely to be fair use than purely fictional work. And I think that one has to do with, if you're writing a factual book, there's more value in citing this work in the context of educational and newsworthy purposes. Whereas if it's fictional, basically, it's harder to add a good new context to a fictional work, because it's more just their IP, it's more their intellectual property. And then, so those two factors are not that important. The third factor is extremely important. This is the one that most judges really come down on. The amount and substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. So they're saying, this says, borrowing small bits of material from an original work is more likely to be considered fair use than borrowing large portions. However, even a small taking may weigh against fair use in some situation if it constitutes the heart of the work. So basically they're saying, this really comes down to, did you use more than you needed to create your new work? Or did you use as little as possible to make your point? Now, when you look at the lawsuit we won against Matt Haas, we used, I don't remember the facts against, but almost 50% of his video, right? And the judge still said that it was fair use because our use of the video was not gratuitous. We used what we needed to use to make our point. Okay. I think like in the case, if we played the whole video and large chunks we didn't comment on, then, you can make an argument like you didn't need to include that. You didn't comment on it. And in this case, you're offering chunks of the video that people could have watched at the original source that you didn't really transform. And then the fourth factor is the effect on the potential market for or value of the copyrighted work. And this one is also extremely important. So it says uses that harm the copyright owner's ability to profit from his or her original work by serving as a replacement for demand for that work that's less likely to be fair use. So what they're saying is, if the content you're making is a substitute for the original, then you're in trouble. You got to make it so that people watching your video would never go to the original source for the same experience. So I think that's where a lot of people on Twitch are running into trouble here. When you're watching entire episodes of content, like a watch party, there's basically, people can go watch Hunter x Hunter episodes in their entirety and get the same experience, right? They're consuming the same content. Whereas we made a video on Matt Haas, I'm pausing it, I'm goofing on him, I'm making jokes, I'm making sketches. People are obviously watching that video for me, right? They're watching me making fun of this guy. They're not watching him with me, which is kind of what's going on Twitch. So, again, these are all systems that are necessary. So we have to look at the whole system as a whole here, because I think everyone agrees that you need to have some restrictions. There needs to be some law on copyright so that people can't just straight rip you off. And then the question becomes naturally, okay, how do we tell the difference between ripping off and not? And that's where the fair use comes into. And then it's like, well, who can make that distinction on fair use? A judge. And unfortunately, the legal system in America is extremely expensive. It's extremely slow. And most people don't have the money. You know, the Matt Haas lawsuit cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars. So theoretically, what's really interesting is that there's lots of untested applications of fair use. A lot of people use this example. Would you watch a Marvel movie and pause and comment and make sketches and all that shit? And the universal answer is no, I wouldn't, because Marvel, those movies make billions of dollars, and Marvel would litigate you out of existence. But do I think it could be fair use? Yes, I do. Now, that's the fucking interesting thing that hasn't been tested. You know, I made a full 3-part reaction to, what was the name of that Adam Sandler movie? Jack and Jill. So I feel like I did that with Jack and Jill, and it was great actually, and didn't get claimed or anything. They didn't even try to test us on that, which was good. But we have done that with a movie, but I don't think anyone's really tested that with a hot movie that's in the theaters that's making billions of dollars. But what's interesting is that I do think it would be fair use if done in the proper way. But it's just about having the balls and the money to say, hey, this is what it is. I'm going to court to prove it. Although we are kind of at the cutting edge now of fair use in a sense, because there's a pay-per-view event that we're being sued for. It's so stupid, though. We reacted to like if you compare it to Matt Haas, our reaction to that was like less than a minute of a 3-hour broadcast. It's so dumb. And it was 5 days after the pay-per-view event. It's going to be a dub, I'm thinking. I'm hoping. You know, you never know in court that I'm feeling good that we're going to win that one too. But anyway, I just wanted to come out here and kind of make those distinctions here. It's like, I don't think we need to be angry at Nickelodeon for, for taking down Poki's stream. They own that content. That's their right. Now, there's a claim like, hey, you guys are hurting yourselves by doing this. Okay, that's their prerogative, right? Because we can't, on one hand, say, well, no ownership. This is fair use. We got to understand these things if we want to be taken seriously as creators, as legitimate businesses where we can use other people's content in a legal way. So, and I just saw Hassan got clapped for watching MasterChef too. So, They're coming out and they're saying, we don't want you guys to do this. And that's fine. And I'm not saying don't hate the creators either, because it was kind of a gray zone, right? Like, you have to wait for the enforcement before you know if the copyright holder is okay with you doing that or not. So there's a lot of different ins and outs. I don't think there's any bad guys in this particular situation. You know what I'm saying? So I think everyone just got to cool the jets a little bit and just understand that, hey, that's the way it is. For this beautiful ecosystem that is YouTube, we need certain things in place for YouTube to exist. And that's the way it is. What do you think, Hila? What do you think about my first video? Is there anything else I should add? No. Felt like it was a little bit of a rambling. I hope it made sense. But I'm not editing these videos. That's just what it is. Don't you understand? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to be making the thumbnails too. So if you see really bad thumbnails, it was your boy. This is all me, baby. All right, thanks for watching, guys. If you want more H3 TV, leave a like, subscribe, tell your mommies and your daddies and all your best friends that Ethan is on YouTube. Thanks, guys.